in the forest there are not only plants and these big animals, there are also smaller animals like rabbits and rodents, like mouse, snakes, lizards, squirrels, and there are also microorganisms which we cannot see, bacteria, fungi. There are also large size fungi like mushrooms growing on the floor of the forest or on a dead log of wood. So, what we find is that a forest has a large variety of living organisms, and this is very beneficial, because larger variety means is equal to more opportunities of food. And in a forest there are animals which eat other animals, and they are in turn eaten by still other animals. A food chain is a chain of who eats whom. In a forest there are plants, agreed? Now these plants are eaten by those animals which feed on plants. What are they called? Herbivores, like rabbit, deer, and so on. The herbivores are eaten by carnivores. So, can we say that carnivores actually eat plants? Yes, though indirectly. Because if herbivores were not there, carnivores will not survive. And herbivores, for their survival, need plants. So, indirectly, carnivores also depend upon plants for food. So, we can say that all organisms directly or indirectly depend upon plants for food. And for energy, all living organisms need food. And how does plant get its food? Plant gets food during photosynthesis, in the presence of sun. So, carbon dioxide and water, and they get food. So, what is the ultimate source of energy? Sun. Some simple food chains can be like grass, deer, lion, but it can be more complex also. Usually there can be 4 or 5 levels of a food chain. As in the forest there are many animals, there are also many food chains coexisting. For example, the rabbit is not only eaten by lion, it can be eaten by other carnivores as well. So, there is an overlapping or a branched system, and it forms a network of food chains which is called food web. And because there are plants, there are animals, there are microbes, we say that forests are a dynamic living entity. In addition to plants and animals, there is another aspect, another parameter, and that is the microbes, bacteria, fungi. These microbes decompose the dead bodies, and so they are called decomposers. And as a result of these decomposers only, the bodies get converted into simple compounds and they become a part of the soil. As they say, life starts from soil and ends also in soil. So, the decomposers have a very vital role, not only in forests, everywhere. If there were no decomposers, this earth would be covered with dead bodies. When you are walking in a forest, you must have seen there is a sound created. Why? Because there are dead brown leaves lying on the forest. This forms the forest floor. Even when it rains heavily, you find that it is not as if forest gets flooded. Where does this water go? You can't even see the soil. So where has it gone? It has been absorbed by the dead organic matter. And so the organic matter or the dead bodies form humus. Dead organic matter is called humus. When we write a food chain, we don't use the words herbivores and carnivores. For plants, we use the word producers or converters because they convert solar energy into chemical energy, and they are eaten by consumers, that is the herbivores. Herbivores are called primary consumers and carnivores are called secondary consumers. And all these three are decomposed by decomposers. So decomposers are there to replenish the matter. So this is how the cycle goes on. From solar energy or from the sun, energy is used by plants. From plants it goes to primary consumers and then secondary consumers, and then all the producers and the consumers are decomposed by decomposers, and everything is returned back to the soil. So soil is also rich in organic matter. So when we talk of forests, there are microorganisms, there are plants, there are animals, there are small animals, there are large animals, there are herbivores, there are carnivores. So we find a huge variety. In fact, in some forests, you won't be able to see the trunk of tree because it is covered by climbers. On the ground also there are creepers, there are herbs, there are small shrubs, small medium sized plants. So what we find is actually there are many layers, so that the competition is less, and animals are also according to these layers, right. Now these layers of the forest are called understories. Understories are the layers of plants in a forest. And what is the roof of the branches of the trees called? Canopy. So in the forest there is canopy, there are understories, there is floor vegetation, there is humus, the dead decaying matter, and inside the soil and even on the surface of the soil there are microbes. There are arboreal animals which live on trees like apes, monkeys, lemurs, even some frogs like red-eyed frog. These are found on the trees. Birds are found on the trees, and on the ground there are other animals which are terrestrial. There are also ponds and so water bodies, and there we have aquatic organisms. So in a forest there is a huge variety of plants and animals.